Good morning, my name is Austin and welcome again to my channel. Today we'll be starting the series on PHP. Remember the last time I talked, I told you that after the series on HTML and CSS on how to create tables and forms and styling with both inline styling, internal styling and external styling, the next drop will be our PHP. So today we are going to be starting with PHP. Now for you to really work with PHP, you must have installed on your system what we call maybe XAMPP or WAMP that has both your Apache server and your database. So now on my system, I have an XAMPP attached to my system. So now if you want to first of all begin to work with PHP, first you come to the XAMPP, or if it's the LAMP or WAMP, you open the XAMPP, the LAMP or WAMP. Now it is open, then you now go to my admin and you click on my admin to be able to go to your database. Now you can see that PHP my admin. Then from there, on the left-hand side of the PHP my admin, you will see what we call a new button here. Now I want to create a new database because without a database, definitely we will not be able to connect and begin to send data into the database. So I click on the new and I give it a name now. Then let's say I give it a name of training, T-R-A-I-N-I-N-G, training. I hope I don't have anything like training here. Then I say create. So now it has created the training database. Now I don't need to create a table yet because we are not attaching, sending database into the data into the database here. So I don't need a table here. Once you have created the database, then you now come and you now minimize. You come and you minimize, and now the next step you will do now is that you now have to locate a folder called the htdocs. What is the htdoc? When you install XAMPP, by default you get two folders. You get the XAMPP folder and the htdocs, and now and it is inside the htdoc that you create every folder that you want to use in PHP. So now for me to locate the htdocs, I come to my PC, I click my PC open, it opens. Now I go to my C drive, I click the C drive and it opens, and I look for first the XAMPP folder, and this is the XAMPP folder. I click on the XAMPP folder, then I now go to the htdocs folder, I click on the htdocs folder, and here is where I create my folder that I want to work with in PHP. So I now say new and I create a folder, and let me say I name the folder my training, T-R-A-I-N-I-N-G, my training, and I do this now. Now I have created the folder inside the htdocs. Now the next step for me to do now is to now go and call my Visual Studio Code. I do this on the Visual Studio Code. Now once the Visual Studio Code is up like this, I do this and I come here and I say add folder to workspace. Then now I look for that same route. I look for my PC. Then inside my PC I look for my XAMPP, my C drive. Then I look for my XAMPP, which is here now. I look for the XAMPP. Then I now look for the htdocs. I open the htdocs and I now go to my training folder that I created. I now say add. Now it has been added now. So now once you have added your folder, now you know definitely you don't do your codings or your PHP inside the folder, you do it on the file. So now I highlight my training folder and I create a file. But so as I've created it, since I want to connect to the database, I will call it connection.php. And I press enter now. Now once I've created the connection.php, the next thing I do is that I now create a PHP environment. And I do this by saying the opening tag, the question mark, and your PHP. Then I press enter and I now say the question mark and I close with the closing tag now. Inside here now I begin to write my PHP now. So now I first of all create a variable called my server name. Server name, and I say it's equal to localhost. That is my server name. Local host, localhost, and I give it semicolon. Then the next thing I create another variable and I call it username. And I do this. I say root. By default, your username is always root. I have not changed anything. So by default, my username is root. Then I do this and I say I call my password. Also by default it doesn't come with the password except I give it the password, and I have not given it the password yet, so I leave it blank. Then the last one I now say create a variable called db name, and I say is equal to what my db name. Remember, I created what my database name is training, I-N-I-N-G, training, and I put my semicolon. Then now I come and I now create another variable called cons. I say C-O-N-N, cons, like this, and I say is equal to what at my SQLI underscore CONNECT. This actually is a variable that you will always call when you want to create your connection to your database. Now I begin to create or call all those variables that I've created, and now say server. I call my server name. I now call the other one now the username. I call it, and I say username. I call the next one. I call the password, and then finally I call what the DB name. I call the DB name. The DB name. Now, after I have done this, I put my semicolon at the back. Then I call the if statement. I say if this, and remember your calling. But now I come inside here now. I now say if $con. If $con, that is if $con, if the connection is okay, do this. I say what echo is what you use to display things on the browser. I say now say echo connection successful. Connection FUL. Else, I come here now, and I'm sorry, I put this here, and I come here, I say else. Else, do this, I say else echo connection FAIL to be filled. Then I do this now. Now I save. Once I have saved now, normally everything is okay. It's not giving me any issue. So now I go to what my browser, and I call that part. Now I call the local host. Then from the local host, I do this. Now from the local host, I call training. Then I call connection.php, and I do this now. See, successful connection. Now you can see that it is connected. Now I'm coming. I want to check something. Training. Okay, my training. Sorry, I'm sorry. That was not that was the first connection I did. I have to call my training. See, my training, TRAINING, my training, then connection.php, and I do this now. You can see now saying connection successful, showing that I have connected successfully to the database. So this is the first step in our PHP series, learning how to connect to the database. Because if you do not know how to connect to the database, there is no way you can create a situation where you'll be able to post it to the database, or retrieve from the database, or update the database, or delete from the database. So this is the first stage of what your CRUD operation, learning how to connect to the database. So now, thank you very much for viewing this training on my channel. I will urge you, if you have not subscribed to my channel, go down, click the subscribe button, and after you click the subscribe button, also click the notification and the like button. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you.